Welcome to Study Loop.
This is the answer to Chapter 22, problem number 42 from the Smith Organic Chemistry textbook. And in this problem, we're asked to rank two series of compounds from least reactive to most reactive for nucleophilic substitution reactions. And so remember, as I've drawn here on the right in green, for this template for carboxylic acid derivatives, the weaker of a base that the Z group is, the more reactive the molecule is going to be. And so you can look at each of these molecules, look at their Z groups, and then rank them from strongest base to weakest base, and that will be ranking them from least reactive to most reactive. And so for A, we have a deprotonated ammonia. We have NH2 as the Z group. So that's a super strong base. So that's going to be the least reactive. So next we have propoxide. So 1, 2, 3 carbons, an oxygen, deprotonated. So it's an alkoxide base. And so that's a moderately strong base. It's not going to be as strong as NH2, but it's a moderately strong base. And then lastly, we have chlorine. And so chlorine is the conjugate base of hydrochloric acid. And so chlorine is going to be a very weak base because remember, the conjugate base of a strong acid is a weak base. And so we've ranked these from strongest base to weakest base in terms of the Z group. And so that's actually also ranking them from least reactive to most reactive. So then we can do the same thing for B. So again, we have this propoxide, this alkoxide, and that's a strong base. And so that's going to be our first, our least reactive. So then we have this anhydride. Another way to think of this, after reading this chapter, you should know that an anhydride is going to be more reactive than an ester. And so you could rank them that way as well. Or you can look at this and say, this is one of the sides of this anhydride is the conjugate base of propanoic acid. And so since it's the conjugate base of a fairly strong acid, it's going to be a moderately weak base. And so it should be more reactive than this alkoxide, which would be a moderately strong base, in terms, again, of when it's the Z group here. And then lastly, we have this trifluoroacetic anhydride. And again, you might just look at this and know that this is going to be super reactive, or you can look at this and say, okay, well, half of this anhydride would be the conjugate base of trifluoroacetic acid, which is a ridiculously strong acid. And so its conjugate base is super weak. And remember, again, the weaker the base, the more reactive the molecule is when we're talking about the Z group of this template carboxylic acid derivative. And so since this is such a weak base, because it's the conjugate base of such a strong acid, it's going to be a very reactive molecule. And so, again, that's how I would go about ranking these. And that is the answer to Chapter 22, problem number 42.